Coming back to the next topic that we have for today is a recent event regarding a so-called allegedly spy from Israel, Mossad, linked to Mossad, and also local couples that were caught in Bazaar Ramadan, Adi. That's a different level if you get caught in Bazaar Ramadan. Like you were about to buy your ayam percik and suddenly, hey, come here. So I think,
An MSB agent just shows up and says, "Oh, we were working for the Israeli state, the Zionist
yeah,
state."
actually, the seller is actually the police.
Oh, this
Like,
is set.
hey.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's very it's
That's a great
very
cover story. No one would ever expect a Ramadan bazaar, shopkeeper or something like that.
but the perpetrator also says that he's not part of Mossad. This is a gangster rival gang that he needs a job to be finished. What do you take from this, Adi?
Okay, I think firstly is that because they caught two people that were linked to him, and these people were supplying him with ammunition, at least 200 rounds of ammunition, six pistols. This person is heavily armed, and that's not easy to get here in Malaysia because we don't open carry, we don't do easily give out firearms to people unless you have the proper licenses. It's very strict here. So to be able to get that kind of clearance and be able to pass, you have to be someone that is very well trained, that someone that knows how to go undercover, someone that knows how to handle all these things without being monitored by our intelligence agencies. So I think there is some truth to the fact that this could be someone linked or possibly an agent of Mossad, because this is not the first time we've seen something like this. We saw, I think it was about a year ago, there was some kind of chase in Kuala Lumpur, and which the identity of the individual suspect in question, really was someone linked to Israeli intelligence. It was an Israeli agent. So this could be just a string of that, following that, because you have to understand that Mossad is one of the most premium and premier intelligence agencies in the world. These are people are very sophisticated. They know how to maneuver in and out, get inside even maybe governments here. They can even bypass a lot of borders just to make sure they nab their targets. So I think it's possible. There's evidence and precedent that shows beforehand. But I think it's funny as well because this Israeli individual was found in a hotel in central KL, and I think like what is it with hotels in Kuala Lumpur playing host to all these shenanigans, like all these intrigue happening. I mean, 9/11 was planned in a hotel in KL. Israeli spy agent also lodging in KL. What is it with KL hotels really?
It really shows that we promote our tourism very, very
to
seriously.
to anybody,
To anybody,
to anybody.
whatever purposes, we are welcoming you. But more to this also, Adi. Like I think 3 or 4 years ago, when there's incident where Kim Jong Un, the brother, right, younger brother, was assassinated also in KL. Like this speaks that Malaysia is a safe haven for those who are doing legitimate things like this. I mean, look at how Malaysia is situated, where we have in the north a land border with Thailand, and we also have on Sabah Sarawak side as Indonesian land border. Natural border, we have one of the shortest or strictest, narrowest strait in the world, where thousands of fleets or boats passing through every day. So I think also in terms of enforcement, it's not easy to look after, monitor Malacca Strait. So these become the hotbed for the terrorists or gangsters. They want to do their doing business here. So I think even though we have a very strict rules on there's no open carry or whatever, but we all have this. It's an open secret that a lot of gangs it's happening a lot. There's also a local case where there was 5 gunmen was shot in Putra Heights. This is related to local robbery scene. So even local robbery, if you look into it, could gain certain ammunitions and firearms. Certainly, people who actually can fake a French passport, who is actually a recent Israeli citizen, who can fake a French passport come to the Malaysia as a French citizen definitely can get these firearms easily, as long as you have the money. And it's reportedly the couple was paid 100,000 on top of their service to this gunman. So desperate times like this, with all the price or tax hike, it's a no-brainer for this couple to actually wants to be a mule for allegedly Mossad spy agent. So I think Malaysia under government Madani, as recently also we can see a lot of announcement, or police actually making a few announcement that they actually caught all this smuggling and human trafficking as well. So this is, I think, part of building Malaysia to be more safer. And I think kudos to police Diraja Malaysia and all those government involved, officers involved, so that this kind of this kind of incident not uh, recurring so many times again. Because Adi, remember, this is the one that we know of and
Yeah,
well documented in the
the tip
media
of the
and
iceberg.
everything. The tip of the iceberg. I can imagine what's actually the happening down there. So it's scary times.
Yeah, it's I think because when you portrayed that Malaysia is a transient destination, we have to look at these kinds of activities. Are they made to be done in Malaysia, or are they being planned because of its convenience? Because Malaysia, it seems to be a spot where it seems more convenient, it seems more out of the way, where there aren't as many prying eyes from more precocious or more curious intelligence agencies such as the United States, or maybe even the Kremlin, right? So it's whether or not this operative, right, was really here to in service of another goal, where he just contacted some of his handlers here, because that guy, the one that was caught, is definitely not the will be the individual that will carry out whatever act that they're going to perform here. Because foreigners coming here, you have a European Hebrew bearing to yourself, you definitely will get a lot of attention here in Malaysia. But if you get locals, right? This good guy could just be the handler, because the last person that was caught in that chase, I think a year ago, was found out not to be the main agent. He was just the handler for local recruits. So, and this is how a lot of agents, foreign agents, operate. They would uh, elicit the services of locals who know what's going on here, who knows how to blend in, and then they will just keep monitoring them. So why this agent has to come in? Maybe it's to gather more information. Maybe these locals, right? Probably the like a sleeper agent. Basically, these people are decommissioned or inactive when it comes to looking at performing whatever activities they need to do, like intelligence gathering. And maybe this guy that came in is probably the new handler that's come to reorganize and re-establish Israeli intelligence in Malaysia. And I think there is a lot of reason why they would do that, because our prime minister has been very vocal on the issues of the current situation between Israel and Gaza, the genocide that is happening in Palestine. And that would definitely ring a lot of alarm bells for for Mossad, for Israel itself, because they see that if a Muslim country is fighting greatly for Muslim solidarity and rallying a lot of Muslim countries to do this, it's very dangerous as well. It's the same situation when Mahathir challenged the United Nations back in the 90s, and because of that, the United States and CIA had a lot of their crosshairs aimed at him, just as much as they were very suspicious of Gaddafi in Libya. So this could also just be them setting up to keep tracks on what Malaysia is going to do, what kind of things the direction for Malaysia is when it comes to voicing out these kinds of this issue, this ongoing issue, this very pressing issue for a lot of Malaysians, and especially for the rest of the Muslim world. So maybe coming here, keeping tabs on what is going on, but the fact that he was heavily armed does suggest that action could have been taken, something drastic could have happened, or that could have just been some kind of insurance or some kind of protection, or in case anything happens. But it comes to show that we, Malaysia, is in the crossfire at this point. For Israel to have an interest in Malaysia, but it's quite a huge thing. And Mossad, it's very, like I said, it's a crazy efficient and effective intelligence agency. I mean, these are the same people that hunted Nazis all over the world. They could be in your bedroom and you wouldn't even know. I mean, for them to track down someone like Adolf Eichmann in Argentina, who protects these escaped Nazis, and drag them, he disappears, dragged straight away back to Israel. And these guys are properly trained here. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, funny that you mentioned about the possibility of assassinating our prime minister, because recently on X, there was an account called Solicitor. He is a so-called maybe Citro for Perkataan National, and a lot of his tweet really fitting to that narrative. And to make it the story short, actually few days before this story break out, he actually challenges the prime minister, because he said like, "Hey, I never seen Anwar in a bazaar Ramadan. Like, why he never go to the ground and look at the how pricey things getting these days?" And then on following tweets, he said that, "Oh, okay. So would I dare Anwar Ibrahim to come to bazaar Ramadan without bodyguards? Like, there's no provocation whatsoever at the time. There was no even idea like why a prime minister, a sitting prime minister, should attend any public event
It's a
without.
no-brainer. Why would you go unaccompanied,
Yeah,
right?
it's a protocol. Like, it's not like he wants that. It's a protocol. Even he refuses, there will be at least a guy next to him. So this guy, out of nowhere, openly challenging Anwar Ibrahim to come to any bazaar Ramadan without protocol, security protocols. So, and then the ex-citizens, netizens will be like, "Oh, see this guy, he tweeted 3 days ago, and he wants to dare Anwar Ibrahim on this." So they can see correlations between what happened, and they would not take this as an coincidence. This is like, "Hey, see, this guy is part of Mossad as well." So it's very funny. I think it's just a coincidence. I don't really believe, but hey, you never know, because the couple that's actually supplying the arms and ammunitions are Malay Muslim normal looking couple. There's nothing alarming about them. So even more so, if we have some guy on Twitter called Solicitor, I would not rule that out as well. But like you said, if they can track Najis offices in Argentina, even more so a solicitor from X.com. So yeah, I think that's also calling for how I would like kudos to the local authorities that can sniff this thing out before it even whatever gonna happen. So I think kudos to them to actually, with all the intelligence that we have, because I think a few years ago I learned that we also have like MI6 for Malaysia as well. So I can't remember what is it called, but it was headed by a very chubby Tudung lady. So to me, I
Oh,
couldn't.
Malaysia Special Branch,
Malaysia
MSB.
Special Branch, yeah. So I couldn't imagine like the head like M for James in a James Bond's movie, like M is the one that lead the agency, right? So this is the M for Malaysia. So I think it was very funny that happened. But again, kudos to the police and the authorities to sniff this up earlier.
Oh yeah, obviously MSB, I think, as an agency, is quite efficient in sniffing out all this. They can wiretap almost anything. Like, they're probably listening to me right now. They're probably listening to us
Yeah,
right now in Riverside. They've probably tapped us as well, because
exactly.
I remember there was a report, I think, a few years back, that they were even able to wiretap the Tunku Mahkota Johor's cell phone as well, to keep tabs on him. But of course, these are things just to maintain national security and state security. They're quite, as long as it's not any situation where you are planning a terrorist attack or any kinds of violence, they would be able to act quite rationally and quite efficiently as well. And we have them to thank for that. And I just hope that the special branch will be able to keep up their service to make sure that these kinds of incidences become rarer and rarer, and trying to flush out all the local agents that some of these Mossad handlers here. And maybe I'm assuming too much that this person is a Mossad agent, but you never know. With one handler, there's probably like 20 individuals or 20 agents under him that's feeding them all kinds of information. Then that information gets fed back to HQ in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or whatever Mossad's base of operations is. But it will be very, how you say, lackadaisical to go on thinking that will be the only incident here. I think it's a foregone conclusion here that there's many Mossad agents probably in Malaysia. There's probably a lot of CIA agents in Malaysia, and it wouldn't be surprising that maybe a lot of the tourists from China are potentially spies, because this is quite the modus operandi for a lot of Chinese intelligence gathering. They would send people overseas. They would usually be students or academicians, and then they would recruit people. A very common tactic here. If most of you like your James Bond movies, then you could really just look into the whole story of the Cambridge Five, with how I think it was the Soviets recruited top British academicians from, I think it was Cambridge and Oxford, to feed them all kinds of intelligence back to the Kremlin. So that's your classic James Bond story, and I think they've evolved from that. They've evolved to finding out how to recruit people who are the most unassuming, the people you would never suspect is a spy, or even some feeding information unknowingly or knowingly to powers that you aren't even privy to, you're not even aware. So these are the unknowns and the unknown knowns that we have to be mindful of, and Malaysia has to be mindful of. I'm sure there's a lot of things that they are, like MSB keeps up lock and key confidential, agents here and there to keep track on what's going on. I think I remember one time someone would point out that could be a MS, special branch or special spy or special agent, right? And you never assume that that person would be keeping tabs on you. It's very, very inconspicuous. They really do live by the trade of secrecy. Cloak and dagger, of course, is not as glamorous as the movies make it out to be, but you never know what could be happening without you even noticing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not far off from the movies that we saw in the cinemas. But if you want to draw, if you can even look on the YouTube channels that do some interviews with ex-CIA spies and whatnot, they look normal, and what they say, like, there's so many levels to it, so you can never know. Like, even though if you are just very how do you say, like, lower level agents, you could be just like gathering intelligence. So all you have to do is just sit there, play snooker, and listen to all the people talking. So that's part of their doings as well. But the one that we imagine, like James Bond, that's probably something a bit rare, if you want to say. But in terms of gathering intelligence, yeah, definitely. Like, and anyone could fit the bill. Even Adi and I could fit the bill. So I think so.
This is the Kopitiam Council set up as a front for me to get more information out of Haffiz here. I'm just masquerading as his fellow podcaster.
I think if we were just a front of to all of this, I think we could afford a better mic. I could afford a better mic or lighting.
It's unassuming. It's no one would know.
Yeah. Serious. On the serious note, again, kudos to Malaysian authorities to sniff out this, to prevent whatever that's gonna happen with this. And I think that's all that we have for this topic. Of course, it's still developing story in here in Malaysia, and we will come up with something if there's something hot to talk about again this in the next episode. So with that, next up, we are still gonna talk about Israel, but in different angle, different light, or even something not entirely a news. Well, it's a newsworthy, but it's a not news thing. If you know what I mean, and listen up to the next one.